Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 18 of the Foot Basket Podcast. I'm glad you were here today. I'm glad you tuned in. Thank you for all the views and just the love that I got from last episode. I'm just so grateful and I am so blessed to be able to be doing this podcast. I want to first give all the glory to God. Allow me to do this podcast. Allow me to be here today. Continue to grow in it and that He will provide the results. I just trust in Him and His will and plan for this podcast. I'm excited to do this episode. Been waiting. I'm so excited for postseason. So excited for playoffs. I'm gonna be so tapped into that. Just been waiting for all season because these playoffs is gonna be really good. Um, I just have just end of season awards. Me just trying to put in my own opinion and who I think is gonna win MVP because I know this MVP races is really tight right now between that top four. I don't know if Luka's gonna be eligible, but if he is eligible, you know what I'm saying. That top four is kind of hard right now. Even all NBA teams, coach of the year. I think I got a little surprise for who I got there. So yeah, I'm just so excited to do this episode. I did some stats, I did my own little research on who I think is going to win MVP and all things like that. Looking at people's stats, looking at who I think is just a better player eye test wise, and putting all things in together to produce what I think is um who I would give my votes to and things of that nature if I was a voter, which I'm not because I don't got that much aura. But you know what I'm saying? We could just vibe and we could talk about it. I'm gonna introduce something new into this episode. This is a test trial, so throughout the episode, while I'm doing these awards, once we get into that segment, there will be a quiz that pops up. It's something like that, where you can vote yourself as a viewer, and you tell me who you think is winning MVP or who is winning DPOY, and I'm gonna put the candidates' names as well. And I just want to see what you guys are thinking. I kind of really do want to see what you guys are saying on who's gonna win this and things of that nature. So, but yeah, I'm excited to go over this episode. I'm gonna start with just this week's of games. Which this week, it was a crazy week. We had Cooper Flag have a 50-point game and a 45-point game back to back. That Jokic, that Nuggets Spurs game was a banger game. Going into OT, thinking that as a Nuggets fan, I was like, can Jokic actually cook against Wemby? And Jokic did his thing, getting that tough bucket in OT. Celtics, Jason Tatum's continue to look super good. Like he just fills up the scoreboard or stat sheet. I meant, and I was looking at as I was going over these awards, I was looking at this. It's called the ESPN rating, where ESPN have creates a rating using their own formula or whatever. And Jason Tatum's already a top 20 ESPN rated player, and he just came back, and that's just because of how much he does outside of just scoring, but he still gets his buckets as well. He's becoming so good offensively, and I'm so excited to see what he's gonna do when it comes playoff time. The Pistons haven't been doing bad without Cade. I mean, they had a 4-point game on this Monday against Shea. Anthony Edwards comes back and they smoked the Mavericks. Unfortunately, we had that Luka injury, which we don't know what's gonna happen. Reeves got injured, so we don't know what's gonna happen. Cause low key the Lakers could definitely just be an upset team, especially if Luka and Reeves are gonna be out for even just a couple games. I think both those games the Lakers are willing to lose, or not willing, but like are going to lose whoever they play, because everybody in the West is hunting right now. I mean, I guess I don't know if the Suns could really make a run, but they could definitely upset the Lakers. From just how hard they play and stuff like that. But it's unfortunate to see that. I also know that the Bulls just fired their GM and their president of basketball operations, which is a good thing because the Bulls have just been this middle team similar to how the Pittsburgh Steelers have been doing in football, but NBA it's so much different. You need to have that time of tanking. You need to have that time of, all right, we're not taking no more. We need to take that step. Pistons showed exactly how to do it right, which is they had literally 3 years ago, I think, or 2-3 years ago, where they started off 0-21, and now they're the number one seed, and I think they represented the perfect way to have that tanking season, but then also just make that jump. But yeah, they fired their GM and their president of basketball operations, but I think is hopefully the right step in the right direction for the Bulls, because these Bulls fans, I know some Bulls fans, and they is really, really loyal no matter how many games they lose. So I think, with you firing your GM and you kind of being in the direction like, okay, hopefully we could take this next season, try to get a high draft pick, because if you would have taken this season and got a high draft pick this season, y'all would have had a generational player, you know what I'm saying? But we will see what ends up happening next season. But Yeah, that ended up happening too this week as well. I'm trying to remember what else was happening because this week was low key a little crazy week, low key, low. Also that. I'm just gonna scroll to it actually because I'm like skipping the whole week right now. I'm talking about so many different games, but I'm gonna talk about that Warriors Rockets game, which was Sunday, I believe. Yeah, it was Sunday. Um, but the Rockets were cooking until Curry came in the game, and I was like, oh my goodness, are the Warriors gonna come back with? If there was people on the court, I was like, I have never heard of your name in my life. And the Rockets ended up winning this game. I remember KD went to that post game interview and he was like, "Yeah, we had a game under control, but then they subbed in 30." And it was like, bro, that boy Curry, it moves different. He played like 28 minutes, had 26 points or 29 points, something like that. Um, it's glad to see Curry back. Unfortunately, I think the the Warriors are gonna get knocked out in the play-in. Hopefully in that play-in game though, that boy Curry drops like 45 because I want to see that probably one more time because he probably won't be in the playoffs next year. Which is crazy to think. Which is actually crazy to think. Oh, Hornets been having some good games to beat the Timberwolves, which is a good win. The Nuggets are on a like 8 game winning streak right now, so that's also good for them. They are when I was as I'm recording this. Let me double check. They were losing to the Trailblazers. Okay, so I mean, I'm watching this. I have this game live right now. The Trailblazers and the Nuggets, and it's 120, 122, 120. Trailblazers is up. So if the Nuggets win this game, they're like a 9 game winning streak. And I know they're trying to push for that 3 seed spot. Which me looking at the standings right now, if they get to that 3 seed in the West, they're looking to play the Timberwolves. Yo, Nuggets, let's lose this game against the Trailblazers because I rather play the Rockets over the Timberwolves, no cap, because I know that we just double team KD and we chilling, but hey, I'm still confident in the Nuggets to win any play the first round matchup that we have, but I would definitely rather see the Rockets, but you know what I'm saying, I guess we could try to win this game, I guess, but yeah, I've been enjoying Celtics basketball so much, how good Jason has been since he came back and stuff like that. Um, I'm trying to think what else. I think that's really it. Just those Cooper Flag games was insane and crazy to see. He's really gonna be so tough in this league. I'm already knowing. I just hope, which I've been saying all season for like the ever since I started this podcast, that as long as Cooper Flag just taps into that 3 point, like potential that he had, because he showed it in that game that he dropped 50. I think he went 6 for 9 from three. As long as he just gets the volume up, when it comes to his attempts, bro, he's gonna be a problem in the league for sure. Which we've known ever since he got drafted, even before he got drafted. Um, but yeah, that's kind of all that's been happening this week. It was a good weeks of hoops. Um, we have one more week until postseason, which is so crazy to think about. But I can't wait for postseason. I'm gonna be so tapped in. I'm gonna be so tapped in. But all right, here comes all the controversial. Here comes all the Ronnie, you're tripping. Ronnie, nah, you're right. Things of that nature. Because we got, I think there's like one. Okay, I'm like, oh my goodness. There's like at least 4 of these awards that are like, I don't think they're like the number one option right now. I mean, DPOY. Should I just start with DPOY because like it's not even a question, but some of these I'm like, hey, I don't think other people got this person on their board, but we'll see what ends up happening. Um, so should we start off with MVP? Nah, let's go. Yeah, we'll start off MVP. Let's start with MVP. I think this MVP race is one of the best, maybe of all time. I don't know any MVP races before 2020. I'm trying to think. I think like around 2018, 2019 when I was really tapped in when Toronto Raptors won that championship. After the Raptors won that championship, I was really tapped in. Um, but what's it called? Yeah, I don't know much MVP races, but like this is the craziest MVP race I've seen as I've been locked in NBA fan. Um, of course, it's just the Jokic, the Wemby, the SGA, and the what's it called? The Luca four-headed race. Right now, Luca may not hit that even eligibility. I'm pretty sure. Last report I've seen, so that leaves it up to 3. Um, and I'm gonna name who I got third right now. And at third, I don't even know who I have at 3. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my goodness, because I was looking at. I just want to give a shout out real quick. I was watching this guy named Jimmy High Roller. He's one of my main sources when it comes to just like how much like knowledge I know in the NBA and like when it comes to advanced stats and stuff like that. Y'all should go tap into his videos. Um, he creates really really good content, and they're not even like long videos, they're like 15 minutes long. But he did an MVP thing where he just went through like every like crazy MVP, like advanced stat. He went through like the eye test, he went through like what is it called, on and off court net rating, he went through ERA, or not ERA, EPA, I think it's something like that. um and again, when it comes to MVP rating, MVP, this MVP race, it can't be off stats, and I definitely agree with this. Because if it was off stats, I think Jokic would definitely be, um, the stats guy, or maybe even Luka. It might be Luka or Jokic, and Wemby would even be top four low key. And if maybe his defense would put him top four, but like his actual like just offensive, like points, rebounds, assists numbers aren't like MVP looking. You know what I'm saying? But we like the eye test. You see how valuable Wemby is. So you have to put all these factors into it. You also got to think about how much this guy carries his team. I was also looking at another advanced stat myself, or not kind of really advanced stat, but it's kind of just it was the preseason records, or it was something like that, like what like analytics and people like that were thinking this team was gonna win, and how much they've grown, and how many like games they won. Although they were I know the Spurs and Wemby had the highest one, where like they were only supposed to win this many games, and now they're the number 2 seed. And when you have that big of a jump, and you have this MVP, this star player on your team, they have to be recognized for that. Um, and I know there's a lot of gap for this MVP talk, but this is a crazy MVP talk, and I just know I'm gonna hit to get the controversy. I'm already knowing, because that's just how it's gonna be, because it's so tight, and I think all four of these guys have a case to win MVP. And if you have any of them, I could even hate outside of these four. If you have anybody outside of these four, then I'm like, now you're tripping. But for me, y'all should even be surprised. As a different fan, I got Jokic, and genuinely, I think Jokic is the best player in the world when it comes to just the eye, like everything. When it comes to talent, when it comes to IQ, when it comes to playmaking, scoring. I'll talk about that defense, even though defense is half the sport according to Wemby. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he didn't say sport. I forget what he said. But I have Jokic, and there was so many stats that I can't even like remember on the top of my head that like Jimmy Harville was mentioning. And like I know like there was one stat where this advanced stat that he was having. This is his best season when it came to whatever stat it was over his MVPs, and I think that he was number 2 all time, and number 1 was the Westbrook year. That Westbrook won MVP. But I just think of how good this Nuggets team is when he's on the court, and how terrible they not terrible. Terrible is a bad word, because we saw, the Nuggets were able to stay steady with that boy all NBA person, Jamal Murray on the team. But this Nuggets team is all just Jokic, and I think a team or a guy like SGA, he's also a guy he's really the offense. He's the whole offensive system and stuff like that. Um, even I mean, I guess Luka would probably kind of be out of that situation when it comes to system, because like Reeves has his own type of plays and stuff like that. Um, but I do have Jokic, and he's literally averaging a triple double. I think he's averaging like 2.2 stocks. If last time I looked at his stats, it was like 2.2 stocks. I think it was like 1.4 steals, zero point 0.8 blocks, or something like that. Um, Again, he doesn't have that defensive impact that like you kind of want from an MVP, but just the talent, the knowledge, the playmaking, the plays that he makes, him going against Wemby and showing how clutch he is, and his efficiency. And if you really want to talk efficiency, I think SGA would be the one. I think he has like one of the best efficient seasons of all time. This season, I think SGA was at my 2, and it's so hard to put Wemby at 3. It is so hard to put Wemby at 3. I think I have SGA at my 2. But yeah, I know efficiency wise, like SGA is definitely he's having one of the best seasons of all time. But I think Jokic just has all of it. He has all of it, and I think, in my opinion, Jokic is the MVP. Hopefully the quiz pops up. I'm not gonna mention it for any other what's it called, awards. But hopefully the quiz pops up. See if it pops up on your screen. It's a test trial. It's a beta thing. Hopefully it works out. If not, I won't mention it again. But yeah, that's what I have for MVP. For Rookie of the Year, It's not too controversial. I mean, it's really just a two-headed race. You could, I guess, you could put VJ in there, but like it's really just a two-headed race. And excuse me, before this past week, it was kind of tight for me. It was kind of neck and neck, of course, between Khan and Coop. But after this 45-point game, after this 50-point game, I have to put Cooper Flag in the Rookie of the Year. And I know the 2 games doesn't um make a player be like Rookie of the Year just based off 2 games, but we see that this he is the best rookie in the league right now, and I just think what Khan has is just the success that he brings to his team and how much of a role that he brings, when it comes to just his 3-point shooting, his off the ball screen, stuff like that. But like when it comes to just best player in the class, it is Cooper Flag by far. Um, and he showed that with these. He's been average. I think he's averaging 21 right now. So averaging the most points as a rookie, having breaking crazy records, and it'd be crazy to say that like after the season, like Cooper Flag is this teenage first teenager to do this, first teenager to do that, stuff like that, and he didn't win Rookie of the Year that year. So I have Cooper Flag at my Rookie of the Year, and that's kind of another one of the main reasons that like he's breaking all these records and doing all these historic things, and we would go past this season having Con at Rookie of the Year when he was doing all this. It'd be I'm not gonna say disrespectful to his resume, but looking back at it, I feel like as fans we would have wished for Coop to kind of have that Rookie of the Year on his resume as well. DPOY, we don't even have to talk much about it. It's Wemby. Let's just say if Wemby wasn't eligible, which of course he is. If maybe it wasn't eligible, that boy Chet. It's so unfortunate because Chet is having such an amazing defensive season as well. But like he for the next 10 years, Chet, Evan Mobley, whoever comes from the draft, them boys got no chance. They better hope that Wemby gets injured if they ever want to win a DPOY, because Wemby got it. He's leading a whole defensive system himself. And it's really hard to stop it. I know the only time, which I was talking about last week, was when the Miami Heat were bringing Wemby or switching Wemby onto somebody and bringing that person to the corner to get Wemby out that paint. And even then, there's been times where teams have done that, and Wemby just leaves this guy and goes into the paint and gets a block. And even if the other team passes out, this defensive team, like this rotation on this defensive team for the Spurs is so good. Like they are able to rotate so fast, so well. So I think that's gonna slow down. But that game against the Heat, like I mentioned last week, that boy Eric Spoelstra know what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Sixth man of the year. There's a couple candidates. You got Nas Reed. Who else was I looking at? I was kind of thinking about. I can't remember what was on top of my head. I know I had Nas Reed at my night too. It was between Nas Reed and this guy. But I got Reed Shepard winning sixth man of the year. I think. Which he only has 12 games started, I believe it was. So of course he hasn't been a sixth man the whole year, but same thing with like every other sixth man of the year that's ever played. But he has fit into that role, and he's had games where like they really needed him, especially just with offensively having the ball, because KD getting double team and like bringing the ball up the court is not ideal for this team and their offense, just how stagnant their offense is. Reed Shepard can get you buckets. Reed Shepard can play make. He is a smaller guard, so he's not good defensively, but as a sixth man, this is kind of what we see in like Peyton Pritchard. He kind of reminds me of Peyton Pritchard in a way. Just a small guard that can shoot, play make. He'll work defensively. I remember that one chase down block that he had last week. I was like, yo, because he was mad far back and he still got that chase down block, and that's kind of what we want to see from a guy like at his size, like a guy like Peyton Pritchard would do kind of the same thing. He'll work on defense even if he's, if he has 10 inches shorter than the guy he's guarding and stuff like that. So like I said, I got Reed Shepard winning sixth man of the year. I think this is the one of the favorites, but I for sure have Reed Shepard. Most improved, I think this was also a lock, almost a guaranteed lock. I'm trying to think who else would be there, but I definitely have Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson last season, I just thought as just like, he kind of reminds me of like John Collins. That's what I was thinking about last season. Chill. Don't say too much. But y'all know about that John Collins back in 2021, that 2021 season when the Atlanta Hawks went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Was it 2021? Or was it before COVID? Nah, I think it was after COVID. It may be before COVID. I can't remember for sure. But that boy John Collins was just that high flyer, alley-oop for Trae Young. He'll get a couple post touches. He'll run a fast break, and that's kind of what I saw Jalen Johnson as becoming as a player. And in this season, he's just averages a triple double every game, and he drops double doubles every single game, and he scores at all three levels. Um, and he's elevated his team to be a good team. When, like looking at this roster, you wouldn't think that this team would be as dominant as they have been. The Hawks potentially being a 5 seed, I believe. I think the highest they could hit is 4. I can't remember if that might be capped. I know for sure they could hit the 5 seed. Um, but that's crazy to think that this star that like last season, Jalen Johnson wasn't an all star. He wasn't spoken about being like the best man on a team potentially, and like just this season, he has taken such a big step and is for sure most improved. I think this is another lock that Jalen Johnson wins most improved player this year. For my clutch player of the year, I think this is a for sure. And of course, clutch I think also comes to eye test as well. We can of course just look at stats and see who hits the most buckets with 30 seconds or less on the clock, or 2 minutes or less on the clock. Um, but also just like if there's a situation where like which Luka did this terribly not too long ago, I think maybe a week or two ago. But if you're getting double team as the star player on your team, because clutch player of the years are usually the star players, are you able to be clutch enough to also make that right decision as well? Are you just gonna shoot over the double team and make, I wouldn't say a lucky shot, but like a lucky shot? You feel me? I got clutch player of the year as SGA. I think SGA has shown multiple times throughout the season how clutch he is. He's had multiple clutch games, clutch shots, and like that's what I just said is that clutch decision making as well. There was one game earlier this season where he got double teamed, um, in the fourth quarter. I think it the Trailblazers game when their second Trailblazers game. They might have been the Trailblazers. I can't remember, but he got double team in the last 7 seconds of the game, and he made a perfect pass. And I think the pass that he made was able to pass the guy to the corner or something like that, or a guy that was driving, and they had an easy lay. And that decision making by SGA, I think also just should. I think decision making should be incorporated into a clutch player there, not just hitting the super tough shots. You know what I mean? But we know that boy Anthony Edwards gets some tough shots. He's not eligible for awards, but like if you really want clutch player of the year, that boy Anthony Edwards gets some tough shots. We saw that boy yell at his coach after like 2 weeks ago after hitting that tough shot over two. But yeah, I got SGA at clutch player of the year. Coach of the year, I think this one is gonna be a little controversial. I think everyone's favorite right now, which you're gonna hear this and you're gonna be like, oh, so he doesn't have him. I think everybody's favorite is JB Bickerstaff, for the Detroit Pistons, and like in my opinion, last season I saw that Pistons team play so good in the playoffs against the Knicks, and that playoff series I genuinely thought the Detroit Pistons were playing better. And I knew coming to this season that this team was going to be good. Not as good as they have been, but I knew they were going to be a top 2, top 3 seed for sure. In my opinion, I genuinely thought that. So like them having that expectation doesn't make me think of like the coach being so, I guess, awarded in a way. I remember the year that Mike Brown won it for the Kings. That Kings team going to that season, we weren't thinking was going to be as good as they were, and had so much hype to them and so much identity to them. Which identity is also just a big thing as well. Like you can't be a coach of the year and not have a true identity. I think a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves kind of fail or fall at that a true identity of what their team is and stuff like that. But in my opinion, I had Joe Mazzulla as coach of the year, and I think this is in my opinion, this is by far anybody else. Even like a guy like Mitch Johnson, I know for the Spurs, people are kind of having him at their number one, and that's because of how big of a jump they had. But like the talent that Mitch Johnson has just kind of gets overshadowed by how well this Celtics team is playing, with how least talented they are, if that makes sense. And even then, if you really want to talk about preseason records versus how they're playing, Celtics have the biggest jump. We're coming into the season, we're thinking that Celtics are gonna try to tank for like a lottery pick. That's what I was thinking. I was like, yo, the Celtics gonna get to the top 3 pick and use that top 3 pick to develop him as Tatum and Brown are trying to win championships, stuff like that. And the Celtics are literally NBA favorite or NBA Finals favorite out of the East right now. And I think that comes just straight from great coaching. And we see multiple times that like we really call it Mazzulla ball, where he has his own type of style of coaching and his 3-point shooting that he has and stuff like that. I think Joe Mazzulla for sure by far wins coach of the year in my opinion. Again, just that jump, that the whole, like, I remember starting off the season, they went like 10-3 or something like that, or had like a crazy start, and I was like, bro, this has to be a lucky start. And I'm like, they're probably like accidentally winning games because they're trying to lose, and I'm like, we're in December, they're still winning games. We're in February, they're still winning games. I'm like, hold on, is this team tough? And then Jason Tatum comes back and they still winning games. I'm like, hold on, now can they win the championship? You know what I'm saying? I just think Joe Mazzulla has been doing well as a coach this season, so I for sure have him as my coach of the year. Now let's go to all NBA teams. This is where we'll end at. I'll go over all NBA first team, which is almost just a guaranteed lock for who you have. Second team was easier. Third team, bro. Boy, I had to take some time. I wanna list some names actually before I continue of who is ineligible um for awards, because some of these names are ridiculous, and I'm like, bro. Also, I could mention the ones that are kind of close by. We'll list the ones that are for sure ineligible: Anthony Edwards, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, LeBron James, J-Dub, Trae Young. I feel like we're even missing some. Cade could be ineligible as well. Let me see if there's any other on this other website that I want to look at before I go to my All NBA. Bro, cause like, bro, some of these, it's just like some, making that third team was like, dang, this guy is on an All NBA team this season. That boy Kawhi is literally, he only has one game. If he misses one game, he's cooked. I think. No, he has one game, and then after that, he's cooked. I guess those were the big names I already mentioned, but it's just like, dang. Also, Cade is Cade on my list? Cade is on my list. I'm now, after I'm making this list, after doing it, all the research, and I'm looking at these ineligible awards. I think it almost might be guaranteed that Cade won't make this, but we'll just keep Cade on here because, like, bro, it was already hard to make the third team as it is. Like, there's someone on this third team. I'm like, dang, this guy's all NBA this season, bro. But let's go over. Also, this is so late. My fault. I hope you guys all had a great Easter. Shout out Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Jesus is risen. Jesus is on his throne, and that he will be coming back soon. So just prepare yourself for that day. Let's tap him back and to these All NBA teams. Cause I was wearing his Golden Good shirt, and I saw it right now. Also, shout out. Where I get this from? Walk in. I can't remember. My fault. I was gonna shout out your company, but ain't no shout out to do. Let's start with my All NBA first team. It's almost a lock. It's Jokic, it's Wemby, it's SGA, and it's Doncic. If Doncic makes the eligibility, I think they will bypass him missing those 2 games for having a baby. I think that will go through. For my fifth spot, I got Jaylen Brown being an All NBA first team guy, which is, I don't think it's too surprising. Maybe going into the season, if thinking like, oh, this guy's gonna be healthy, Jaylen Brown shouldn't be first team. Jaylen Brown was leading like second MVP at like one point in the season, leading this Celtics team that we thought was going to be bad into being one of the best teams in the league right now. Excuse me. So yeah, I got Jaylen Brown in the first team, a guaranteed lock for me. Now the second team, like I said, I got Cade in there. Cade was really close between him and Brown when it comes to like that first seed spot. It's for sure between them two. I don't think anybody else could make a case for it. Again, Cade was also kind of just doing that same thing where like going to the season, even like I said, of course I thought they were gonna be good, but like number 1 seed clinching before everybody else, that number 1 spot. Cade leading this team, especially offensively, him being basically the whole offensive system. Cade, I think, had a case to be All NBA first team. If you had him All NBA first team, I wouldn't hate it as well. So I got Cade, I got Kawhi. Boy, that boy Kawhi. If Kawhi played how he played between, I don't know when he started cooking. It might have been like mid-January to now. If he played that whole first half of the season, we'd be talking about Brown, Cade, and Kawhi when it comes to that All NBA first team spot, which is crazy because like that boy came off like 3 ACL injuries. That boy's like 37 years old. That boy got back problems. I know that boy's back starting to hit him a little bit from that age, and he's had this Clippers team be good with their without selling. Like when they didn't sell, when they still had Zoo, when they still had Harden, and then even after this trade, the Clippers were still able to be a good team, and that's because they have a leader and a star player like Kawhi on his team, and he's been hooping. Um, Actually thinking about this next pick, I haven't watched much of this guy's team's ball this season. I'm trying to remember how he's played this season. I have Jalen Brunson. I haven't watched too much New York Knicks basketball this season. Of course, watched some games. I've talked about them definitely, but again, Brunson is has been one of the better players in the league for the past few years. Ever since he came to New York, they was it this was the season that they won the NBA Cup MVP or NBA Cup. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won MVP as well in the NBA Cup. Um, but he just be like he averages his average. I don't think he's not a guy to drop like 55, 60 or anything like have those big numbers, but he averages what he averages. He does what he does on a daily every game. And I know Jalen Brunson is one of those players where like you look at his net rating when it comes on and off the court and it's like, do they really need a guy like Jalen Brunson on this team? But he just brings so much to that offense that like although he is such a liability on defense, you kind of have to have him on that court, whether or not you look at those advanced stats and be like, yeah, maybe we bring in Jordan Clarkson. I don't know. I'm trolling, but yeah, Jalen Brunson has been cooking this season. Donovan Mitchell is definitely a guy that should be All NBA talk. I'm not first team, but he's gone through the Darius Garland phase and the James Harden phase and played that role that he's playing. I think spectacular when you have such a good point guard and you're another shooting guard that's like the best player on your team, but you're having your point guard handle the ball more. I know it's probably difficult, especially as the best player on your team, but he's played that role so well. Moving off the ball, being a 3 level scorer, and like just being aggressive on defense as well. Although he's shorter, he's bigger in stature and stuff like that. I think D Mitch has been playing so well this season, leading that Cavs team to probably 3 seed finish or a 4 seed finish. And then this is crazy. This is crazy who we got in second team at the end. Jalen Johnson is gonna be All NBA second team this season. I think this is almost a lock as well. Again, averaging like almost a double double every single game, almost a triple double averaging this season, leading this Hawks team into being one of the best teams in the East. A top 7 for sure team in the East. I think the Hawks are gonna for sure hit that six seed, 5 seed, somewhere around that range. And again, with this guy, Jalen Johnson as well, but before the trade deadline, after the trade deadline, he's been doing it all season with different players on his team. He just took in that star role. Basically, I'm not going to say from Trae Young's hands because Trae Young was injured this whole season, but Trae Young got injured and Jalen Johnson said, yeah, I'll take control of the team, and he has done that so well. And I mean, it's definitely hard to be the best player on your team and just immediately try to make such a huge impact. But Jalen Johnson did that so well in the beginning of the season. Again, like I said, just taking that torch from Trae Young and just being as talented as he is. So yeah, Jalen Johnson is in my third team or my second team, sorry. And now my third team. This is like, bro. I mean, like some of these names like definitely deserve. I'm gonna go with my first. Like this is a guaranteed lock. I got Deep Book on my third team. This Suns team again is one of those teams I'm like, bro, I don't understand how they're winning games. I don't understand how they're good. Because again, they just sold away KD and they didn't have Jalen Green for like 70% of the season, and Dylan Brooks has been out for like half the season. It feels like, and they continue to just win games, and that comes off of the back of like Devin Booker being that offensive system as well. Just like he works defensively, but offensively, we've seen multiple times how much D-Book has cooked throughout his career, and this season is no different. He's leading his team to be one of the better teams in the West when the West is very packed right now. D-Book has been playing great this season. I think this is almost a lock as well. I got Jamal Murray in my third team, which is shout out to Jamal Murray. I'm so proud that he made an All-Star team, and he's going to be making an All-NBA team in my opinion. I got Jamal Murray, and I think the biggest jump that he had was when Jokic went down, and he led this team. He literally had like I think he had like 2 or more, maybe 1 or 2 triple-double games while Jokic was out. He showed that he has that playmaking ability that Jokic has to be able to find those passes, which we've seen throughout his career. But like when Jokic went out, we really saw a lot more. And again, his scoring has been there his whole career. But just having that jump, especially when Jokic was out, I think definitely pushed him. not to be just as good for himself, but also just when it comes to like all NBA talks, when it comes to Murray and how good he is. I think that was the biggest push for him. Um, so yeah, I got Jamal Murray in my All NBA third team. Carl Anthony Towns is who I got next in my All NBA third team. Leading the league in rebounds, I believe. It might be Jokic and then Cat. Um, Again, Cat also has been playing well at that 5 spot. It's like before, like 2 seasons ago, it was like, oh yeah, Cat needs a 5 man next to him, and of course, I think even in my opinion, if Cat has a 5 next to him, he plays better at that 4 spot, being able to like not run around more, but create space for himself, create spacing for others and stuff like that. Um, but being at that 5 spot multiple times with like Mitch Rob going out sometimes this season, and like not trusting really obviously Elliott to like be a 5 man. You've had a lot of time, a lot of minutes where Cat is running that five spot, and Cat has done really well, getting those boards, cleaning the glass, um, also just creating spacing as a 5 man with it. When this lineup is all playing together with Josh Hart, OG, Mikal, Brunson, and Cat, there's so much spacing because everybody could shoot. Maybe not Josh Hart, but like you don't want to leave Josh Hart like fully open as well. Um, See, a Cat, I think deserves All NBA third team. This one is almost a lock as well. I got KD. KD again has to get double teamed because he is the offense. If KD isn't getting double teamed, this offense of Houston just looks so much better. I'll just watch any Houston game like in the last like month or so. People found out what the strat is, and I should just to double team KD because if he gets the ball, he's either gonna take a tough bucket or he's gonna have space for somebody else because they're gonna try to, if they could blitz KD at any point, they're gonna try to and things like that. Um, but he's also just led this team as well, and him coming to Houston has been, I think, a better decision for him because when he was in Phoenix, it was like I'm not watching Phoenix games like that, and like he just didn't look as comfortable when it comes to his offensive presence and stuff like that. But like here, we can really just see that KD. We saw that in Brooklyn, that we saw in Golden State. When it comes to just like his presence and his impact. So I got KD on my third team, and this last spot, bro. Yo, I was sitting in this chair for about maybe like 7 to 10 minutes, just like looking at some of these names, and I was like, bro. I might shout out Keontae George in here. You know what I'm saying? Um, might have to put Steph Curry in here, bro. Um, Alex Antetokounmpo or like on some Dylan Brooks on the third team, bro. I was like, should I just put like a straight defensive minded guy, bro? Like that doesn't have a crazy stats, like a Drew Holiday. Um, like a who else? Like a Jabari Smith. Nah, now we're pushing it. But like I was looking at some of these names, I was like, whoosh, this list get a little thin, you know what I'm saying? Um and even saying this guy's name, I don't feel too good about it, but like, I think you guys won't hate too much on it. But I got Jalen Duren on my last person on NBA third team. Being the second best player on the number one seed is important. I think we saw it with Chet being one of the All NBA talks this season and last season. Um, which Chet could have really took the spot as well, but being that secondary guy on the best team just shows that you are an impactful player, and also just offensively and defensively. Jalen Duren's also just always been there defensively, but offensively he has such a big jump this season when it comes to just his creativity, when it comes to around the rim, when it comes to around that elbow, around the mid range. He just has so much creativity. The pick and rolls have been looking so much better for Jalen Duren. He has taken that step, and he has most improved. Conversations that could be had as well when it comes to his play as well. But yeah, that's what I have from All NBA third team. I'll just go over it real quick for everybody. All right, MVP Jokic, Rookie of the Year Cooper Flag, DPOY Wemby, Sixth Man of the Year Reed Shepard, Most Improved Jalen Johnson, Clutch Player of the Year I got SGA, Coach of the Year Joe Mazzulla, All NBA first team Jokic, Wemby, SGA, Doncic, and Brown. All NBA second team I got Cade, Kawhi, Brunson, Mitchell, Jalen Johnson. Third team I got Booker, Murray, Cat, KD, Jalen Duren. If Cade gets ineligible, let's just slide in Chet Holmgren, I guess. With Chet Holmgren case is similar to Jalen Duren's. Defensively, he's always going to be there. Just offensively, he didn't have such a big jump between last year and like this year, like Jalen Duren had, but like he can space that floor. he plays well when Isaiah Hartenstein is on the floor when it comes to his offensive impact, and he just has that creativity around the rim. But yeah, that's my awards for this year. Cause like next episode, we won't be talking about awards. Cause like hopefully next episode after, the awards will be out. I'm so excited for the playoffs again. Again, like I talked about last episode, I do have that you know what I'm saying, not just me in this video. I'm working that out. I'm getting all things set up for that. So a group podcast will be coming soon. An episode where it'll be just me and somebody else, or me and some other people, multiple participants. We'll see what's up happening, but I got that working out right now. So just stay tuned in that. If you aren't following the Foot Basket Podcast account on Instagram, go tap in. It's Foot Basket Podcast on IG. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you comment, share this to others if you can. I appreciate all the love that you guys are sending me. But yeah, stay tapped in, stay tuned into these episodes. So I'm so glad you made it to this episode. I'll see you next week. Peace.